They just want you to sit in your chair and go, hip hip hooray for the Western press and the Western narrative. Regurgitating the same old every single day without the stop. Please watch the first 2 episodes, the second series. Look at that.
Absolutely fascinating.
And it was the first time the Beatles had really stopped being semi-professional almost.
Hello everyone, sorry I'm late, was doing something you see, and time just goes, but anyway we're here tonight, nothing really specific, it's just a chat, see what you're doing for Christmas. Have you got any New Year's resolutions in yet? Have you got a New Year's resolution, guys? What are you going to do next year? What you hope for next year? Tonight, you see, with the new year, as I said, you make New Year's resolutions. I think I'll do this. I think I'll do that. For your own good, that is. You don't make a New Year's resolution for the sake of it. You make it for your own good. If you know what I mean. Anything. So, you just talk about it. I'm not saying talk about New Year resolutions or just about Christmas. Talk about anything. Anything what's gone on in the past of the year. Anything at all, just chat. And the comments will be read out. And Anthony and myself will be talking about it as well. Just anything at all. Bring up a conversation about anything. And I bet you anything else that if there's any football fans with us, they'll be talking about the bouncer. So it's anything goes tonight. Just a chat. Let's get to know one another. Anyway, before I bring out Leo, just got to mention gap painting services. And these people are fully time served. There's no cowboys. There's not one cowboy there. Person who comes in, I'll do that, I'll decorate that. These fellas are properly trained through apprenticeship. They're fully insured as well, just in case anything goes wrong, which it doesn't really. Just get them in. Please get them in. And if you're an NHS worker, if you're an elderly couple, or just living on your own, that is, an elderly person, get them in because you get a special discount. And if you're not one of those, just bring them in and say, give us a price. This is what I want to do without any obligation. That's what Gap Painting Services, who does every podcast I do, every single one. And actually says, I've got me veg in, Frank. Me and Spuds are on the roast bit. That's lovely. That's what it is all about. Anything. Toscana. What I say to Franco, Anthony and Chatters. I've booked my flight for Italy for next September, so that's 2 weeks of bliss. 2 weeks in Tuscany. Also want to spend at least 5 days in Liverpool. Wow. Yeah, come and see me, you know that, Toscana, if you're coming here. Is your sound okay, Frank? I haven't a clue. Anthony will tell me. I hope so. I'm fed up with this thing, you know. I really am. If my sound's gone, I really am. Sorry about it. So I'll bring Anthony in. Let's see. I've got yeah. Brilliant. Thanks, Jason. Thanks. Jason's fixing me sound. So just hold on a minute if you can hear me muffling. Thank you.
Can you hear me okay? Yeah, it's done. Thanks, Jason. Thank you. I'm sorry about the beginning there. I'm awfully sorry. I was only calling Jason and Anthony for everything, you know, if you couldn't understand what I was saying. But I'm not going to repeat it anyway, you know, so. But anyway, what I'd like you to do is just talk about anything. Anything at all. Like actually, he says, I've got my roast ready. Toscana's going away. You know what I mean? Toscana is off in September for a couple of weeks to Tuscany to see her family. And that's great, isn't it? A couple of weeks, and she said, it's bliss. That's next September. Well, I hope to get away in May. I hope to get away to Sofia, Verona. That's what I hope to do. If I get okay. If I see these people I need, these medical people who I need to see. I just hope, you know. Anyway, I'm just gonna. I've got to that. Before I bring Anthony, I'll just say hello to everyone. The little Lambie Ellen. Good evening, friends. That lovely. The boss. Greetings, Frank and Co. Best wishes. Thank you, boss. Steve from Dallas Cowboys. All the way from Dallas. Happy day, Frank. Hope you're all okay and your health has got well. You know, that's what I've just mentioned. That's what I've just mentioned. Dallas, Steve, I'm sorry. That's what I just mentioned. I just hope that I'll be okay. That's better, mate, says the Achi. Thank you, Achi. I'm not jealous at all again, says Ambi to little Tosca. He's going to Tuscany in September. And actually, I've got some Red Devil sprouts in, and they weren't grown in Liverpool. Jason says, my fault on the mic. Sorry, folks. Been a long day. Don't be worrying, Jay. I'm going to bring in this Mona now. And there he is, my old mate, Anthony.
Oh, I told you Jason was the backbeat. He's the backbeat.
There you go.
Yeah.
There you go, Anthony. So, you know, it's just a chat tonight. It's not like anything else. You know, they can even ask us questions or, you know, just say, like, what are you going to do over Christmas? Where are you going? Are you staying at home? Are you going away? And things like that, you know. Yeah. So What you hope to do over the Christmas, Anthony?
Do you know what, Frank? Over Christmas, we're kind of homebirds, but we will dip out and do some visiting. And I've been trying to get to you for months, as you know, and every
Yeah.
time it comes up. But we will get there. But it's wonderful to kind of end one year, start the other with some plans, as you and your beautiful girls have got, and Toscana with Tuscany. You know, that's brilliant. I think we've got to have things, whether it's work or whether it's pleasure. You've got to have these moments to aim for. You know, it's like otherwise everything will disappear. And so I aspire to that. And there's a couple of things we've talked about. I'm hoping that happens this year, and
Do
whatever
you mean
else happens is
Florence?
bonus.
Do you mean Florence? Do you mean Florence?
Yes, Florence, and then little exhibitions and stuff.
Oh,
Just
exhibitions,
to
yeah.
yeah, but Florence will be
See, we
what
can
will
always leave Florence till more or less the end of the year. You know, we could be a lot better by then, hopefully. God's willing, as they say. So,
you
you
mean
know,
kind of October?
could always be on the table, if you know what I mean. But the exhibition is
Yeah,
more important for everyone, to be honest, you know, in the new year sometime. You're thinking about May or something, aren't you? April, May, or March, April, May, that month for the exhibition.
well, the one we were kind of space we were offered could be April, but then at the same time it could be June. We never know when it's out of our hands. We don't know, but I would much rather do it when either before we go away or when you come back and the limoncello and all that gear is worn off and you're sober again. But anytime, but it's just a plan. And you and I don't make plans as a rule, but these are labors of love. We want to do it. Florence, to me, oh, to get there and do that, I would spend the following 6 months or a year just painting and drawing what we've experienced, what we've
Yeah, I
seen.
think that I said that to you, didn't I? What you do,
Yeah,
you take pictures because I know that you draw. I'm just saying this. I know that you actually draw faces because I've seen your drawings of Laney and the your girls. I've seen them, but also that little fountain, that wall fountain by where I live,
yeah.
by where I grew up in my catchment area. On the wall there, fantastic. So I'd expect you to be with your little pad, looking at something, especially the Duomo, and you'll be drawing that. You'll take photographs. You'll do everything. I'm talking about the outside. Never mind the inside. I'm talking about the outside because it's incredible. It's absolutely incredible, Anthony, and that's what I'd expect you to do, being the artist that you are in
I so
Florence.
look, yeah, just two scousers in Florence. You know what I mean? And it's that's the title of the exhibition. There you go. Or four
Brilliant.
scousers in.
Yeah,
But
you know what though? I think that's a great title because remember when I said to you, I'm sorry, I'll have to get onto the thing, but I'll just say this. Remember when I said to you, I was going around with the guys when I was in Florence, and I was looking up. She says, "You see that house there?" I said, "Yes." She said, "That's where Leonardo lived." And I went, "Oh." And I was just looking at it, and she said, "You see that house?" And it was like that together, so close. And she said, "That's where Michelangelo lived."
I
Fixing each other. Their
I
home.
have so since you mentioned that. So
And you know
so
what
fond
you'd
of
say? I know that you'd go click, 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 and have them drawn. I know that for a fact. I think it's even paint them, to be honest. Later on, when you get back to
you
the
get back.
country, back home,
Wow.
I really believe that. I'm going to just see what these
Yeah,
people are saying. If you
invite us.
don't,
No, that's brilliant. That's what we're here for.
and Toscana said she's talking to little Lambie. I couldn't go this year, so I wasn't going to miss it again. That's going back to Tuscany, you see. That's where she's originally from. Excuse me. And Toscana spends her Xmas day at my brother's house. Always very enjoyable. 100%, Anthony. You need something to look forward to. There you go.
There you go.
You need something to. I think we all do, don't we? And
Well,
Toscana says Florence is the best in May and September and even October.
there
And
you
the boss, we'll go back to these, don't worry. The boss says, try to find that nobody filmed, Frank. There is another of the same on our system and also on YouTube when I type in volition. I get pawns. No, it's just volition. It's a cracking picture, not like Bang Bang Club. No, no. Volition is just volition. I didn't half enjoy it, but nobody. There's two nobodies. There's nobody first one and nobody two. So it's just the one. It's the first one. It's a fantastic film. It really is. It really, really is, boss. And he carries on by saying, when I was a kid, I was always drawing pictures from imagination in my room, but fell out with the art teacher. But later in profession, explain projects with a picture sometimes drawn on a serviette. Well, that's your power, you see, because no matter what, if you see a blank bit of paper, and as you said, a serviette, you draw, if that's what you want to do. Even if
yeah.
Frank and Anthony says TW, it's the beginning to look a lot like Christmas. Yes.
I feel it too, TW.
Yeah, look at that. Look. Two Scousers in Florence sounds brilliant. I really hope you get there. There's no words to describe how beautiful it is. I'm on another planet when I go there. I think we all are. Well, I was as well. So, Anthony, as Toscana says, as even the boss says, he fell out with his art teacher, you know. So he's got it
Yeah.
in him, or he has it in him to do what you do, be an artist.
Do you know what, Frank? That is such a common thing I've heard since. There's we've all got it in us because art is expressionism, as is playing music, as playing a piano, as is vocalizing emotions, which you do through history and what you know. But you only need one teacher in school to say, you're not going to do anything with that, whatever it is you're doing, sports or anything, and your brain shuts the door. Oh, the conversations we used to have when we were on the waterfront, and chaps a lot older than us would come in and say, I loved art, but the art teacher said you never do anything, so it stopped. It's that kind of, if you can't encourage it, don't dismiss it. You know, I'm talking about teachers. I was lucky for 18 months in my life. I think it was 18 months, because my whole school career I would regard as crap, other than one guy who turns out to be a Scotty Roder, and he comes in and he says, you can do that. You can go there. And when art school knocked me back because I didn't have science or mathematics, he wrote to them, said, just judge him on his work. And I got in. Hated it, so I was gone again by 3.5 years down the line. But it's that encouragement. Why can't we encourage our youth to do whatever?
Well, there's something here. I've just seen it, and it's one of my old ex-students, lovely lady, June Healy. And June says, "Hi, Frank, I agree. Wonderful place, Florence, as are many places in Italy. I'm going to tell you something about what June told me one day." And I was flabbergasted. And she, you know, she's listening in now. She'll go, "So what he's talking about?" But she will find out. Anyway, as many places in Italy. Remember years ago, you wanted to organise a trip there for our class. Best wishes. To be honest, June, if you remember, I did organise it. I asked people, I said, you know, I would just like to go to Italy, you know, and I had a great price and everything because I had a fellow to come in, you know, who organises the trips and, you know, brought us over there, fixed us up with hotels and whatever. And he was a smashing fella. And they were all absolutely delighted. When I asked, would anyone like to go to Italy? All the hands went up, every hand. Every hand went up, yeah, I'll go. So I said, okay, I'll bring someone in. So a couple of weeks later, I brought this fella in. I organised a trip, and it was so cheap. It was so cheap what it was. I think it was for 11 days or 12 days, something like that. And we were going by coach, a luxury coach, and we were going to stop in France overnight, then, you know, onwards the next day right into Italy to our destination. Everybody, this is great, you know. After the fellow went, and he gave us the price, and that was smashing. And then just a couple of months down the line, they started to drop out. And I felt terrible, you know, for this fella and his little firm. I felt terrible. I said, listen, I'll have to cancel it. And anyway, you know, that was a big embarrassment for me. And I never ever did it again, never asked any classes or anything if they wanted to do a trip like that, because it's so embarrassing. And yes, I trusted these people. We were talking about trust, weren't we? You know, about trusting people. And I trusted these. It's very hard for me to take the words off anybody anymore, if you know what I mean. I'm not talking about you or the chatters or whatever. I'm just talking about what happened to me. And I never ever asked any other class because of the embarrassment I felt. It's all right, you know, if one of the people say, yeah, I'll go, and, you know, promise, and all of a sudden, I don't want to go now after a couple of months. And that was it, the old little knock-on effect it was. So I think they'd been talking, you know, between each other. I don't think fancy going, and I just said, that's it. It's embarrassing. Never again, as I said.
Oh, with the world, didn't it? But that would have been a lifetime memory
It would
to
have
have
been.
gone.
It would have been. We were going to go to Pompeii. We were going to go to Herculaneum. We were going to go everywhere. We were going to go to Rome. We were going to go on the Amalfi Coast. That was the idea. And, so that went through the roof. Anyway, I'm going to say something about June. June always went away with her husband, who's passed on since. And she always went on a cruise. And anyway, she got to Brazil on a cruise ship. And she told me, get onto this. She said, we got off the boat, the ship, and we seen this big plaque in a place called Maltus. Never forget this, what she told me. Maltus. She said, and there was a pier, like a landing stage.
Yeah.
And she said, the plaque said, this is a replica of the landing stage in Liverpool, England, in Maltus in Brazil.
Fantastic.
Fancy reading that, getting off a ship, you're from Liverpool and you're reading that. How proud would you feel?
Absolutely, absolutely, so proud. Yeah. I'm proud listening to it.
Yeah. Thank you, June. That was beautiful. Thank you. And best wishes to you, sweetheart. Honestly, best wishes to you. And the Snapey says, I'm spending Xmas Day at the zoo. It's actually with my 2 stepkids and their 3 kids. But believe me, come 11 a.m., it's akin to a zoological garden. Fortunately, I can abstain from alcohol as I'll drive. Yes, of course you will. I never ever drank and drive. I wouldn't touch alcohol, ever. I always remember saying to my mother, she wanted to go up the cemetery, Boxing Day. Anyway, I was up there on Christmas Eve, I said, listen, do you want to go now? I said, because I'm going out today. I said, there's no way I'll be able to drive tomorrow. And I'm going out to on Christmas night as well. I said, so Boxing Day, I said, there's no way I'll drive. Because it'll still be in me, the alcohol.
Yeah.
So she said, no, I won't bother. I'll go up like later on the week. So I goes up to see her on Boxing Day. No, I don't go and see her. I didn't plan to go and see her because, again, driving. So anyway, phones, I was chatting on the phone. She said, Francis, will you come and get me? I've got to go. I have to go, please. So I goes up for her, drives her to the cemetery because, family things and, in the cemetery she had the wreaths and things. I said, okay. So anyway, drives her up there and I'm standing outside my car waiting for me, for her to get back. She was in the cemetery, by the way. And there was a flower lady and a fella, some fellas selling flowers, a couple selling the flowers. So anyway, this cop car pulled up and went, looked at me. He said, what are you standing there for? I said, I'm waiting for my mother. She's just gone in there with a couple of wreaths. And he said, have you been drinking? I said, no. I said, it's 10:30 in the morning. And he said, I think you've been drinking. Have you been drinking yesterday? And I said, no. Now, don't forget, pubs are shut, but this pub was opening for us on the Christmas night. I was with our kids, and other people.
Yeah.
Our ones at the time, or my one at the time. And it was open, and I said, no. I said, I haven't been drinking. I said, I was on Christmas Eve. And he's looking at me. And I thought, I'm getting a breathalyzer here. And he went over to his car, and I went, "It's going to come out." You know, the breathalyzer, they are blowing that. Because it was a showing alcohol, whatever it was, you know, whatever it come out
Yeah.
as. And then he got a call, and he just jumped back in the car. Never said nothing to me. He just jumped in his car, and he went, flew off. Now, I was lucky, and I never, ever drink and drive. Never, ever done that in my life. And I never, ever drank. I never, ever went out the day before. That's why I always went out, you know, over weekend. If I was going out on a Friday or a Saturday, Sunday was totally free because I wanted to be okay going to work on the Monday, if you know what I mean.
Absolutely know what you mean. Yeah, brilliant. I mean, over the past few years, you know where we live, and for Francine, when she gave you brought you both over that day, you come through the Birkenhead Tunnel. They set up police cars there, so you come through the tunnel. You've got nowhere else to go, and they just stop you at certain points times in the year because it's an easy stop. You've never done it. Laney's never done it.
No, I know Laney's never done it. I do know that.
We've had to, yeah, I don't drive, so we got the kids. We're always on a kind of on a mission, but it's just not worth the grief on all sides to do it. Yeah.
Steve Malone, my old mate, says, looking very festive, handsome Frank. Yeah, see?
There you go. Christmas show, Steve.
And,
Christmas
the boss says, my favourite Italian city is Verona. I had some romantic memories, and in caps, it was the annual trip for the April wine fair there. Good times, yeah. He said good times. But I don't know what you mean. Tosca, let's go through these. I dropped art at school, then took up it again when I left work. Took me 5 years to finish a canvases for my house of my favourite singers and actors, says Toscana.
That's brilliant. I'm made up that you did it, but Toscana, that asks the question: who were the artists that you painted?
Your painters, singers and actors.
And why?
I'm open.
Go on, Frank. No.
Toscana says, I'm open to move house next year, and my project will be Art Deco paintings on glass or framed canvas. I love Art Deco. That's my favourite, to be honest. I love the lines of Art Deco, especially in buildings. And Edward, I've just come on. What's the pool about? What's the pod about? It's anything goes, Edward. Last night, when I was doing the pod, I said we're just going to have a chat, and I think you can get what you're, by the
night out, all of it.
Anything at all, just chat about. Like Ambi, for example, she says, when I was at college, they organised a coach trip through France and Strasbourg. Went to the European Court of Justice. Cost was £5. Wow.
Wow.
I quit.
FO could not do that again now.
No, you couldn't. Steve says, I used to work with a lovely Italian lady called Laria, but she had a name tag, Hillary, because staff couldn't remember her name. Shame, she went back home, but she's missing Liverpool a lot. Isn't that lovely?
Wow, that is lovely. Yeah. And we meet so many wonderful people in life, and life is so fast we go through. My best friend when I was younger, when I was at art school and after, because I duped art school and started in bands, but I had to work. My mum said, "You've got to get a job." So I worked in a pub restaurant. My best friend was a Spanish chef, Jose Torres Castro, who still is. We're still in touch, and the the language barriers between the two of us, because he couldn't understand me and I couldn't understand, you get in, develop a speech pattern, was just so funny, and I will remember it all my life. Glorious times, you know.
It's again, it's like only what Ambush said, you know what I mean? And what Boss says here, because he's talking to Ambush. I used to live a short distance from Strasbourg by the Rhine about 20 years ago. The course is just lip service for political lobbyists now. You need global media to get a case into the court. Of course you do. It's all changed. I'll be talking, if anyone, I'm doing my current affairs tomorrow night, and I'll be talking heavy tomorrow night. I'll be talking about Venezuela. I'll be talking about the EU. I'll be talking about frozen assets. I'll be talking about everything by these people who are actually money, stealing money, and that's the EU. This is, and they demand of political leaders. This is the point. Political leaders, the likes of Italy, the likes of Spain, the likes of Belgium, the likes of it, not here because we're not in the EU, the likes of everywhere, right through Europe, the European Union. And these unelected people, they are unelected, who run the EU, like von der Leyen and Kaya Kallas. These people are telling European leaders what to do. And if you don't do it, we'll sanction you. And these are unelected people put in by the WEF, the World Economic Forum. They're shocking, they're destroying Europe as I speak. People don't realise. We'll be talking all about that tomorrow night. So if you want to join me and make your comments too, I'll only be too glad. You know what I mean? And people don't realise, Anthony, that we're on the precipice of a world war. If the way these are going on,
It feels it. It feels it.
it is. It's shocking.
My
But anyway,
for our young.
hello, Frank and Anthony. Edward.
Hello, Edward. Welcome.
And have a little or no time for the police in general, but when it comes to drink driving, I'm right behind them, prosecuting those who do, and I'm prosecuting those who do. My mistrust is born of experiences in the past. I'm behind them. If honestly, I never ever got in a car, my car, and drove when I've had a drink. I'd have to leave it for 48 hours.
Yeah.
48 hours before I got into a car, or 36 hours at least, before I got into a car.
Yeah.
I'm with you there, 100% there, Snapey.
Yeah, me too, Snapey.
There you go. And Edward, so they're not talking to one another now. I'll just go down. Edward said, Frank and Anthony, did you ever go to South Road for a drink? Hang on a sec. I'll come back to you. I just want to get through these comments. I just want to get through them. Because you asked a question before, Anthony, and I'm just trying to get through them, honestly. I painted the Beatles, of course, says Toscana. Freddie Mercury, because you asked her. Freddie Mercury, Sean Connery, Marilyn Monroe, James Dean, and Aussie soap actor Alan Fletcher. I've now been friends with him for 20 years because of the painting. Isn't that lovely?
That is beautiful. That's the gift of art.
And Stephen says, I will probably on Christmas Eve to in a pub. I'm going out Christmas Eve, stay. So I could see you. I'm taking Francine out. I've finally, she's been asking me, and I haven't taken her out, as you know, Anthony, for 2 years, because of what's wrong.
Oh.
And I said to her last week or the week before, I said, I'll take you out on Christmas Eve. She was made up. But I said to her, I'm bringing me walking stick. She said, okay, Dad, no problem. And I'm only going out for a few hours. But I tell you what, Stephen, I'll let you know where it'll be around. I don't know, but I'll ask Francine tomorrow what time we'll be going out. It'll be in the afternoon sometime. So I can meet up with you. Or you can meet up with Francine and myself.
Brilliant.
And Amby says to the boss, it was in the 80s when I went. Also went to the European Parliament too. And Edward says, is Jamie the paranormal? Yeah, he is. He is coming back on. He is. And the likes of Anthony said, I don't want him on because he scares me.
I love him. I love Jamie. I think he's great.
That's why I want him back on, because of Anthony.
Some of the stories do unnerve me a bit, And
we're having, who's our musical friend?
Oh, Jerick.
We're having him on in the new year.
Wow.
And we'll be seeing more of Jamie. And also, because I'm going to make a special, not a special, but one day during the week, I'll have to come out with a day in the new year that, like, 1 week we'll have Derek on, and the following week we'll have Jamie on, and so on, and go on like that.
Yeah.
So we'll just after they pick a night, Anthony. It won't be a Monday because a Monday's strictly for the history of literature. Is that okay with you?
Oh, Frank, yeah, absolutely fantastic. Two wonderful gentlemen.
They are, actually. And Paulie says, just listening to Frank talking about the EU, so knowledgeable. Hi, Frank. Hi, Anthony. Looks like you're in the old Blackler's Christmas grotto. Do you ever remember Blackler's grotto?
I do. I remember as a kid.
Yeah.
And also up the road there to TJ's. Remember all that? You'd go there and you'd kind of be petrified because there's so much going on. It's big. And you join the queue that you're in for hours and you get a present. and you think, what's going on? And then maybe you get your photograph taken or whatever. And then when you come out, you'd open your presents. And there was always a book, like the kind of comic book kind of things, kids' books, which I loved. And you know what? I'm going to drag them out because I've still got some here. I've got a Match of the Day book from about 1972, 71. Yeah.
I'll tell you what, I love, I loved TJ's, as a little mad kid. Because when you looked in the window, you see all the Christmas decorations and whatever. And Pinky and Perky. Pinky and Perky was always.
And that was Lewis.
Little voices.
That was oh yeah, the squeaky voices. I'd love to.
I
I'd love
used to come
to.
out on the mic as you see them dancing like this, in the window.
Yeah, yeah,
But I tell you what, Blacklas, when you're walking up towards Blacklas, and they've got that big thing around, haven't they? Like, the parapets around. And
yes,
you see all the Christmas trees and the lights and the windows was full of Christmas cheer, Christmas decorations. It was
yeah.
incredible, absolutely incredible.
It
Was
was
Black?
incredible. Was incredible. Lewis's too. And when I was at art school briefly, they always said, "Stop at Lewis's, study the way they dress their Christmas windows." But you just planted a seed, which I've got to mention this chap's name because he was a lovely guy. Sadly, no longer with us. But
Oh,
the things that you're describing, Blacklers and Lewis's and TJs, all the puppets, all the stuff, they were kind of designed and made by a Scouser, a Liverpool guy called Peter Blasey.
oh, go away.
Yeah, and my dad worked with him as a student before I was born, and that's when they did the Christmas grottos and stuff like that. But Peter went on, and I think his sons and nephews joined him. So even right up to when they opened, when they did a lot of damage, really, the town planners, and they built Clayton Mall. You got the Globe and the Midland pub, and then they kind of leveled the streets, and Clayton Mall came. Well, for years they had those puppets and stuff there. That still too was Peter. I think
Wow.
we only lost him in the past 5 or 8 years, but he was responsible for the massive big Santa that was in Blacklist.
Why?
Yeah,
I remember that.
yeah. It's in the
And he,
museum now, I think. I
and
think
he
it's
did that in Santa.
yeah, yeah. Wonderful people that we don't think of because, but yeah, happy times.
Yeah, great memories. Totally well there.
Yeah.
Do you know what? Snapey says, are you still out with your daughter at Xmas? I've just said that, Snapey, yeah. Yeah, this is what I mean. I really need to go down and what the comments because we can talk about them. And Snapey says those paintings of Anthony's of John Lennon are brilliant, by the way. You're a talented fella, Anthony, says the Snape.
Thank you, Stumpy. Thank you.
And
Yes.
I just want to go through these if you don't mind, Hans.
No. Come.
Thanks for the invite for tomorrow, says the boss. But in my opinion, we have already been in World War III since the last one, and the latest step to dominate the world via AI, artificial insanity. People are dumbed down. Yeah, 24/7. Totally agree. You've just answered my earlier question, Frank, about Christmas Eve. Yes, definitely.
Wow.
And probably won't come on tomorrow, Frank, says the boss. So get so angry with the lack of awareness, by the general public. I know most of the chatters contribute positively. YouTube won't allow full disclosure. Goes too deep. Yeah, it does. And Stacey says, do you remember the Butlins advert with two ballsy characters, Toot and Plute? Yeah. Pep and Slot.
Oh,
There you go, Anthony.
oh, there we go.
There you go. Do you know what? I hope he's still got it there. No, he hasn't. I wanted to show it. Your drawing of the little fountain.
Oh, the chat. Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
my favourite drawer and that, you know. I just love it.
You've got
There
it.
it is.
He's with
There
us.
it is.
I told you, Jason's the backbeat.
It's incredible, that. Absolutely incredible when you look at the. To me, it's unique. It's unique. Even the chip out of it.
Yeah,
I remember this is. I remember the chip. You know, out of the bowl there. I remember it.
I grew up with my mum talking about stories that they knew they were halfway home when they passed that fountain because they, as you know, were on Wright Street, Scotland Road. And when I decided, Lainey and I decided to go back, we did a little exhibition called From Scotland Road to Here. And it was quite sad in some ways, the losses of things that have been pulled down. But it can you imagine the excitement when we saw that that was still there? And I said to Lane, wow, stop the car. She did. I got out, took some photographs, made a scribble, and that's where it came from. But 1857, Frank. So
1857.
that's a wonderful Charles Pierre Melly, isn't it?
Well, that's right, you know, and people don't. I'm not saying our chatters because we have spoken about it. And he went around and he was looking at people actually kneeling and scooping water out of pools, out of the pools, you know, pools of water left by rain or whatever.
And obviously getting sick on the back of that.
Yeah. And, you know, you're talking mid-19th century where you said about, you know, getting sick. You can imagine the germs. Even the streets weren't swept or any. It was shocking. You know, so, and he said, I've got to do something for them. And that's what he did, the Melly. And someone mentioned, Snapey says he's bringing his, he's going to zoo, you know, at Christmas with his stepkids and step-grandchildren. And people, again, looking at the zoo, in 1831, a fella named Atkins, he opens up the first zoological gardens in the world. People say that it was a German. I forget where it was, actually, in Germany. And it wasn't, it was here, it was him. There was a fella named Atkins opened the very first zoological gardens. Incredible what he did.
Yeah.
And it's incredible what we've done. And Krista, Frank and Anthony and everyone, like and subscribe.
Good evening, Christopher.
Thanks, Krista. Is there anybody else going out Christmas Eve? It'd be nice to put faces to names. I always remember a month or so ago, Snapey, and someone mentioned, it wasn't you, it wasn't me, it was someone else mentioned, shall we all meet up and have a drink? So I put it out there, and no one got back to me. So I said, that's it. Again, I tell you what it's like, Snapey. Excuse me. It's like what I mentioned about being embarrassed in school, you know, not in school, I'm sorry. And when I organised the trip to Italy and they all fell out and I was embarrassed with the, you know, this particular person I brought in to talk about the trip and everything else and how much it would cost. And I was dead cheap. It was dead cheap because, you know, it was educational because you get a smashing discount. Anyway, that's by the by. And I was embarrassed. So I never mentioned again about shall we meet up? Have you noticed? Because I didn't want to feel embarrassed. and I was going to make an effort to go. And that's why I said to Francine, she said, "Are you going out?" I said, "No." And then a couple of weeks later, I just said to her, last week it was, I said, "I'm going." I said, "I'm going to take it out." She was made up. So yeah, I'm going out with Francine.
Yeah.
On Christmas Eve. If you want to meet me, that's fine. Come and have a drink. But you're right there, put names to faces, Snapey. Cop father. Are you cop? Cop father. Great, darling. Big up, Frank. And Toscana says, well, Scotty Road's a big area because every Scouser I speak to has connection to it. My friend's Nan lived there as well. She was Irish. They said, well, I'll tell you who lived there.
That's right.
It's a good historical thing. It was the Irish. It was the Irish quarter first. And then when the Italians started to come over, they went next door to them, more or less, same area. And it was Scotland Road. And my family, when they came over, they went to a place, and it was known as Little Italy. It was known as Little Italy.
Yeah.
And that's where my family went to. Little Italy. So you had the Irish quarter and you had the Little Italy all off Scotland Road. And that's when, we talk.
Yeah.
I grew up there. And everybody says the Scotty Roaders, which is right. They are Scotty Roaders. Like me, I just lived off Scotland Road. So, yeah, it is a big place. And it was a very odd place. Very historical, by the way, as well. Owen Lee. Evening, Frank and Anthony and chat. I hope everyone is well. Thank you.
Good evening, Owen. We hope you are too.
And Christopher, I'm working over Christmas. Or are you, Chris? Well, Yeah. Yeah. And Steve, we all made. There is one of them old drinking bowls in Breck Road. There you go.
Yeah. Yes, there was a few, Steve, set up by the original ones, and then there became a Simpson fountains. So someone did it. Like there's one on the wall of St. Nick's Church. So I think the Breck Road one is connected to this one.
It will be.
The Melly thing, yeah.
Yeah, of course it will be, because he put up his own money and everything, for these. He gave it all to the utilities. But there was one caveat about these particular, fountains, wall fountains and stand. And do you know what it was? The water was coming through lead pipes, and some people got lead poisoning through it.
These are the days where we didn't know, did we?
No, we didn't know. Of course we didn't. We just thought, the water will go through there and everything could be okay, and it wasn't, unfortunately. But it did save lives. It did save. And Toscana says, I can see the Italians and Irish living side by side, as we've so much in common. The thing is, you see, Toscana, why the Italians came there, and it was because of religion. They wanted to get near, very religious people, both the Irish and the Italians. And, everyone else, to be honest, they just wanted to be by a Catholic church. And where I lived and where Little Italy was situated, there was lots of Catholic churches around. So that's why they went there.
Yeah.
And the Irish as well.
Yeah, there's also the family thing, isn't it? Nucleus of Italian home and Irish home was family.
And the Toscana say, wish I could make it to Liverpool over Christmas, but I've no chance. And it's bulge, not bowels. I knew what you meant. That's why I said bulge. Oh, I can imagine Anthony drawing a bowel.
That's Molinado's territory, that. But, never say never.
Never say never, no. Never say never. You've always said that, though, Anthony, haven't you? Never say never.
Never.
It's,
We didn't. I did not imagine last year that I was going to paint a series of literary genius, but we thankfully we get inspired. We still get inspired. We're cynical with some things. We're wise to some things, and you can't help but be cynical. But there's still that wonderful buzz of discovering something, learning something new. For me, anyway, that's the thing. Yeah.
Yeah, you're right. You're right. No matter what, it's like wonderful people on here, and they just talk. It's like Snapey there. He said, "I'm going out on Christmas. I'm going out, taking his stepkids and step grandchildren to a zoo," and that's what you call chat. It's like what Toscana says.
Yeah.
I wish I could be in Liverpool over the Christmas. That's chat. And also Stevie Mulholland.
Yeah.
By saying there's a bowl up in Breck Road, he said bowels. There's bowls. So it's things like that.
Yeah.
And it's just chatting, it's like sitting down in a cafe or a pub or whatever and just having a little chat.
Yeah.
And this is what the idea was tonight.
Yeah. Was. We're just sorry that we can't see everyone's faces and stuff. But, it feels like we're all together. No?
Yep. I was waiting for that Francine this morning. She was taking me out shopping, right?
Yeah.
So anyway, did she come down? I'm asking you, Anthony, did she come down?
Possibly got delayed.
You're sitting on the fence. There's either no yes or no with you. You're sitting on the fence, possibly. So is it a yes or no? Did she come down?
With you asking, it's a no. But I know that your Francine absolutely loves the bones of you. So
anyway, she phoned me at what time is it? She was supposed to phone me in the morning to say, I'm on my way down, Dad. So I said, okay. This is it the night before. I said, okay. So anyway, she didn't come down. And she phoned me around, what time was it? About 20 to 1 this afternoon. And she said, Dad, can I come tomorrow? I said, well, okay. I said, I'm sitting here. I've got my suit, tie, everything. I said, I've only got to put my overcoat on. I said, so can I take that off now? And she said, shut up, Dad. She'd never seen the tie on.
Here you go.
Shut up, Dad. So I said, okay, but going out, she's definitely coming down tomorrow because what it was, why she didn't come down. I said, you should have phoned me this morning, told me. Anyway, why it was, it's simple. Sophia was breaking up today, you know, in school.
Yeah.
And they were having a fair, you know, like a school fair or whatever it is.
Yeah.
And all the parents had to go.
Of course.
Parents, you know, especially the mums, you know.
Yeah.
You know, the school was they were having a Christmas dinner.
Yeah.
They wanted the families to be there as well, you know, and they were going to give speeches. And that's why she said, Dad, honestly, I only got this message this morning
Yeah.
at 10 o'clock when they phoned me up.
That's brilliant. That's brilliant. But do you know that's the way life moves, and certainly with the kids. And that photograph you sent me of your Sophia. Oh wow, what beautiful! Because this is a time for them. All the lights, the beauty of Christmas is now, isn't it? The build
Yeah.
up.
Tushka, I can't drive till well into January, so it's a bit frustrating. My poor cousin is acting as my chauffeur, but she doesn't do motorways as much as she loves Liverpool, like me. There's a lot of people who don't do motorways, they just don't like it at all.
Or
You know,
tunnel. A lot of people don't do the Birkenhead tunnel because they don't like
no,
that. Very
no,
claustrophobic.
it is claustrophobic. I know when Lee says it, my dad always points out the fountain by Bourbon Bank. Bourbon, where's that? He said he and his mates always filled their bottles up when they walked from Marsh Lane to Formby. All right, to
Wow.
Camden Pine Woods. Go away.
Oh, brilliant. Brilliant. Oh, do you know what, Owen? That's a big reason why I drew that tap, because my mum used to tell me the stories of it, and I was gobsmacked that it was still there, and when everything else had kind of gone. So I just thought I've got to draw it. It's still there, and we still had my mum then, so she got to see it. Uh, you know, it's memories like that that we. It's strange the way we hold on to these um, short stories from our parents and our family. You know, I
It
remember.
is. I tell you what else is a great little story, a memory, and I suppose the chatters with, you know, wherever they lived or live, and it's going over to New Brighton or Seacombe. Just getting the ferry over there, and it was brilliant. They
Yeah,
were great memories. And I was talking to some old fella once. I was just sitting there, you know, chatting, and he knew me. I never had a clue who this gentleman was, and he said, "You're Frank, aren't you?" And I said, "Yeah." And he said, "I heard you talking about the overhead railway." I said, "Oh yeah," you know, when it was on the radio that time. And I said, "Yeah." And he said, "Do you know what, Frank?" He said, "I used to go on it." I said, "Did you?" He said, "Yeah, I was working." He says, "I used to." He came down. He lived in Seaport, and he had to get down to somewhere I'm not saying the city centre, but anyway, along the line, wherever he went to. Anyway, he says, and it was so convenient. It was so convenient. And he said, "There's one thing that you said, which I totally agreed with, that it was criminal vandalism to pull it down because it was so unique. And it was the first electrified, he says, as you call it, a railway in the sky." He said, "That was brilliant, that," he said, "what you said. Railway in the sky, and we had it, and we pulled it down." I said, "Oh, that's great, that." You know, it's people like that who've got great memories.
bring it to life. The
Oh,
history.
yeah, it does, yeah.
yeah. I know
There's a,
my dad loved it, and my dad just thought it was a work of genius.
yeah, like me,
Yeah,
like me. It was a work of genius. The engineering that went into it, seems to have been forgotten. Seems to have been forgotten. The engineering that went into the overhead railway, the first electrified railway in the entire world. But as Sir Douglas Fox said, put it in the air. And as I called it, a railway in the sky.
okay, brilliant. You know what? But again, there's the countless hundreds, thousands of people connected to Liverpool. My beloved uncle Joey and my granddad Tommy, the Dockers. So they were, you know,
They'd
wow.
be using it, wouldn't they?
There was, you can't comprehend the numbers, can you?
No.
Now,
70 million used it in a 60-year lifespan. 73 million.
just
Think about that.
yeah,
73 million in
jeez.
60 years.
And
Could you imagine? Oh, sorry, go on.
it's viable. They thought it was viable to pull it down because
Oh,
someone can make a bit of money on the back of it.
that's all it was. Greed, corruption. That's what it was, Anthony. And give them like city plan. Look, it's like buildings. The city planners having a clue. I always remember this fella, this Manchester fella, and his designs. I don't like these black buildings down by, the Albert Dock and right next to the Port of Liverpool building. I hate them. I really do. I loathe them. They shouldn't be there. And he was asked in the paper, I'll never forget it. It was the Echo actually, and he said, just the reporter, the journalist was talking to this particular architect, and he said he's from Warrington or Manchester. I'm quite sure, one of the two. And he said there's lots of controversy over the. Even Rod Holmes didn't want them up. Did you know that? He said
No,
it's going to take away the aestheticness of the
yeah,
Port of Liverpool building, the Albert Dock, the waterfront,
yeah,
the Live and the Cunard, especially all the waterfronts. It's going to take it away, the aestheticness. Anyway, he said that the architect, I'm not bothered, not worried what they think. That's what he said. What bothers what they think? See, he lives outside. He lives outside. Not he doesn't live in Liverpool. He's not interested in Liverpool. And yet, where they were saying about these buildings, we don't want them. We do not want them. Because do you ever remember, Anthony, about they wanted something on the waterfront for the millennium?
yeah. Should have
And they
been.
had different, yeah. Well, we're the only city, major city, I'm talking about major cities, throughout the kingdom who didn't have a millennium building built. And this is the problem we had, because I remember taking my students down to the Walker Gallery, and it was up to the people to choose, these buildings.
Yes,
And I voted for, I forget his name, but it was a beautiful building with a thing going around it like that. And that was supposed to be a wave.
yeah,
And I thought, this is fantastic. It's bringing in the sea that we thrived on, the River Mersey, the water. That's the way I looked at it. if you know what I mean, the Great Port. And that came second. And my students, some of them voted what I was voting for. And I never told them what I was voting for. And because there was a leaflet there, you marked it down, A, B, C, or D, or whatever it was, and you just ticked it off. And so some of my students later on, when we got back, who did you vote for? They asked me, and I told them, and a few of them said, I voted for that. Others were like, no. And they voted for something else, right? And the least one, even right throughout Liverpool, excuse me, the least one was, what was his name? And it was, like that domey thing, and you could actually see it from space.
Will Alsop.
Will Alsop, get in there, brilliant. Will Alsop. Well, that was the least favourite for anyone, and it's only got around 2% of the vote. And it was Mike Story. Now, he came out and said, I want, whatever you vote for will be built. So this thing, this other thing, beautiful, don't get me wrong, was voted for to build. And he decided to go against all what he said and against me, against you, against the whole of the citizens of Merseyside. You might as well say Merseyside. And he said, no, we're having Will Alsop's thing. And that was being controversial. And people asked, he said, why are you picking Will Alsop's thing? He said it was the cheapest. And I said to him, I said, well, why didn't you come out and say, instead of doing this big press thing, pick the cheapest? Why didn't you say that rather than, whatever you vote for, we'll build? Why didn't you just say, I hope that you vote for the cheapest? He said, well, you wouldn't have known, would you, what the cheapest was? And I said, precisely. I said, you shouldn't have come out with that statement. We'll build what you vote for. I said, you're a phony, you. Anyway, that was it. And it never got built in the end because it was too expensive. It was too expensive. So we're the only ones who never had a Millennium building.
Never commemorated. Yeah, not even a park.
No. Well, that was the next best thing when that got gazumped. Someone came out with it was absolutely brilliant, and it was between the Albert Dock, the Strand, the the Liver, the Cunard, the Port of Liverpool building, and what this thing was, I forget who designed it, and it was a park. It was beautiful. The way they did it, the way this fella did it, I don't know what he was. He wasn't a landscape gardener or something like that. Anyway, he designed it and he said, yeah, how about that? And again, people were saying that's going to be lovely because he said, people getting off the liners can come and just sit there and relax. If they go into the city centre and coming back, instead of going on board ship, they can just come and sit here. It was beautiful, with benches and things and whatever. And no, that was, and then they built those three monstrosities. I think the monstrosities. That's just me, no. The Snape. The M roads are statistically the safest roads in Britain. Truthfully, it's only tentative drivers whose hesitancy cause accidents. They are my Achilles heel, especially when they are quiet. They are quiet Stoke, 35 minutes. Don't know what that is. Paulie. The overhead railway, the Rockets umbrella. Yeah, there was the Dockers umbrella, you mean? Not the Rockets. Yeah.
There were rockers as well. You wouldn't argue with a rocker.
No, you wouldn't argue. Should wear my glasses, terrible spelling. No, it's not. We know what you mean. We know what you mean.
No,
Honestly. The
no
Dockers
nights out, them.
and the Stacey's. The other design for the MOL looked like a giant hamburger with a car park underground. That car park was up being a few inches above the Mersey Tunnel. You're right there because there was a bit of controversy over it, wasn't there? Yeah, you're right. You're right. The Millennium Building. It's shocking what we didn't do, what we never got, unfortunately. A Millennium Building. And do you know where our Millennium Building it was already built? It was the old Echo offices, in Victoria. Because
Yeah.
I used to have to go down there, when they wanted some advice and some historical stuff. I never liked that. These people who were brought in, for the capital of culture.
No, most of them were faceless.
They still owe me money. They still owe me money. Go on, what did you say, Anthony? Sorry.
There's about 3 of them who were great, we connected with. And they were lovely, 3, but there was about 300 of them.
Loads of them. Loads of them they were. And I said, listen, I won't pay for this, I used to go down 3 times a week and twice a week. And I always remember the first time the council rang me up and said, would you take these people around coming in for the capital of culture? I said, who are they? He said, oh, most of them are from Manchester. I said, Manchester? What are you bringing them in for? What about Liverpool people? Oh, well, their experience because of, I don't know what it was. I think it was something to do with football. Oh, no, I'll tell you what it was. It was the Commonwealth Games. They held it or something, or they put in for it and they got all this expert. I said, you can imagine what I said.
Yeah. So
anyway, I went down and brought these people around, never had a clue. They never had a clue. So anyway, I was talking to them and they were saying, could you tell me where they, so I was having to explain things. That's how Rod Owen got hold of me. Do you know that? Do you know how he got hold of me, by the way?
No.
I was going around with these stupid people who was running our capital of culture. And I said, I want Liverpool people to run it. We can run the capital of culture. It's our city. We know because what I wanted, say the likes of the Pierhead, for example. I wanted 3 things. 1, sailors dressed in, say like the 1800s garb. Sailors. Yeah. On one side, and then near the Port of Liverpool building, I wanted other people dressed as World War I soldiers and sailors. And by the Liver building, I wanted other people to be dressed up as World War II, right? That's what I wanted at the Pierhead. Up at the up at the Lime Street station, I wanted people again in Victorian outfits, and I wanted then the Lion back. You know, the steam engine, the oldest steam engine
Yes.
in the world
Yeah.
today, and it's ours. It's ours. It's the Lion. I wanted them there, and you know, and I'll tell you for why I wanted them, and I also wanted people at the castle. Now you might think the castle, but Victoria's monument was there, and my idea was to have a hologram. And Liverpool University was over the moon. They said, yeah, that would be fantastic, that. A hologram of the castle. And people there dressed in medieval stuff.
Yeah. Brilliant.
Now, why I did that, now, there was all the, you know, we've got 3 universities, as you know, and each one of them have arts, dramatic, you know, drama.
Yeah.
Would be actors and even Lipper, and have people from these places dressed up, whatever they were going to be dressed up in. Say, like the castle, for example, you know, these would be actors would be talking why, you know, they would have had a script, they would have learnt the script when the castle was built, what function it was, and things like that. The likes of the railway, about the Lion, you know, we did the Lion. We started off the first passenger railway system in the world. The soldiers, you know, well, the sailors and what was happening with trade during, you know, during the centuries coming up to like the First World War, and the soldiers there, they were talking why they were being mobilised there, and the Second World War, why they were being mobilised there. So it was a story about Liverpool. It was the history of Liverpool.
Yeah.
And that's what I want.
Through song and everything at different, it all points to music, to drama, to, yeah.
And they said, oh, that's a good idea. Did they want it? No. And these are people from Manchester. They didn't want that. And I thought, well, you can imagine what I said.
Yeah.
Anyway, Stephen says, oh yeah, said that. Snapey says, the museum on the pier head looks out of place. I don't like that either. Personally, I think it's an architectural accident. It's just horrible compared to the other buildings there. I hope you don't mean, you know, those black buildings. I think they're shocking, them. Totally out of place. And Earth Heating Angel. Hello. That's that. Ethel, what was her name? F. We call her F, don't we? Hello. Hope you're okay. So that's it, isn't it? Basically, Anthony, you know, it's just things that have gone on. And I said we were only talking about chat, and we went through historical things, unfortunately.
Well, that's part of chat, because everyone's involved in that. You know, it's like we grow up around these things, whether it be Blacklands or whether it be the landscape that we walk through. You know,
it's like your dad. Now, when you told me about your dad, it shocked me. It really did. Simply because you said that, you know, all the massive posters, you know, for cinema and things. And he did them with his mates. He actually painted them with his mates. And I said, and there's me thinking, oh, little paintbrush. A big face, a massive face, you know what I mean? And how did he do that? And you said with a yard brush, that would just sell that little story. I think it's fantastic. about your
I,
dad?
I mean that was um, the actual to make a living in the arts is not the easiest thing to do. It's a precarious living, and my dad got he always loved art. He always loved Leonardo, uh, where I got it. But he got in as a sign writer for the stores. We talked about the. I mean, we had some absolutely majestic stores. Owen Owens, Blacklers, um, all of them in Liverpool, all of them, just magical at this time of year. But my dad would work there as a day to day, and he would do like frocks, two two and a bit, whatever the sign language sign was. But to make some money or more money, that there used to be separate little warehouses going on because of the picture houses were so many of them, and almost every night, every other night, they would have to change down. Jimmy Cagney film, and then that would come down, and then Clark Gable, and then whatever the movies were. So they all had to be hand done. So you imagine like 30 or 40 massive big sheets of paper, and someone would do a basic idea and say, Clark Gable's head, and he's, whatever the background is. Now, I want that 45 foot. Okay, boss. And they go away and do it. And the only way to get that detail was wasn't detailed was to get that size was with a yard brush. So a big pot of paint these things, put all the pieces together, and then go up outside the picture house and look magic. We've got some photos somewhere. I will find
I'd love
some.
to see them.
I'm
I'd
going to
love to see them.
Jason like yeah.
Please show them. Jordan, the history of literature. Please show them because I think it's well worth a look. Did you ever do? The way you see advertisements on
Yeah,
the massive billboards.
yeah.
Did you do them as well?
They would have been all done by hand, yeah.
Friggin' hell.
Similar
That's
people, different shops, and the lads would not have known each other, but there would have been. Used to be a place called Barron's, now called Barron Signs. I think the connection was that Mr. Barron, going back in the 50s, um, would say, I need to pull in a workforce to get these jobs out of the way. And like he would get the lads together and the girls and organise the artwork and then supply it to the picture houses or like you said, the advertising boards and stuff, you know. And
I think that's absolutely incredible because the faces they had to do these yard brush, you
yeah,
know, paste faces, and they look like, say, like Humphrey Bogart, for example. I'm just saying, they
yeah,
had to look like Humphrey Bogart, and
yeah.
huge face.
Well, you can imagine some of the picture houses one was as um, a male lead and a female lead, and you've got all of
Yeah,
that kind of image going on, and then you've got something like the Maltese Falcon.
yeah.
You got Peter Lorre, Sidney Greenstreet. So how many heads do you want? We've only got one yard brush.
Well,
For
I'm wondering. That's why I do. Remember when I said to you, I would have loved to be talking to your dad now,
yeah,
because when I went to see the Beatles, um, up at
they,
the Locarno as it was then, it's the Olympia now. And when I was walking along, it was a massive you know, you could sell that. It wasn't a proper photograph, but you could sell that to do with the Beatles because they just looked like the Beatles, but it was painted. You
Yeah.
see, and I was wondering if your dad must have been one of them who done that massive poster of the Beatles.
No, there used to be a lovely guy, and Laney and I got the pleasure of meeting him once up by Anfield's ground, where there was a hotel there. We met him. He did a lot of Beatles stuff. He was older than us. I think he's passed. Let me find his name, and then when we do a Liverpool show, I'll drop his name in. He used to do it, and even in those days, there were no computers. There was none of that.
No,
It was Brian Epstein really who said, "I need, 16 gigs coming up. I need 16 big posters." And he'd put it through someone to do. But my dad never got that job. Although my dad did audition, he saw an advert in the newspaper. He was working in the stores, not much money. And he saw an advert to say, artist wanted, Liverpool city centre. So he applied and he got a date and time to come in for an interview. And it was NEMS. It was Epstein who was auditioning.
wow.
What he wanted, Epi, was a window dresser, not so much as an artist, painter artist. And so my dad went, and obviously it wasn't what he wanted. So, but my dad said he was lovely and stuff. It's just a pity the job wasn't there. But that's the way everything was. It was all by hand. Right up until, I think, 1984, 85 was when computers started to kick off.
Yes, the digital things, yeah.
Yeah.
And that's a shame. That is a shame. I'll go on to the comments in a moment after this. Watch this. Piggy and Peggy.
There you go. That's the kind of stuff my dad would do. That was kind of the press adverts. So they were designed to go in the Echo or the.
Me and Jason would be looking for that for ages. You know, the poster, TJU, and that's what I remembered.
Yeah.
Pinky and Peggy. And I always remember I was in my grandmother's, and like her friend came in with her granddaughter, and she came in, she was only a little girl, and I said, "Where have you been?" And she went, she has she'd been to Grotto, she'd been up to TJ's. I said, "Where have you been?" Because she has a little present. And she said, "I've been to Grotto." I said, "Oh, the Grotto, have you been to Grotto?" She said, "Yeah, I've seen Pinky and Twerky."
Oh.
Pinky and Twerky. I've never forgotten that, ever. Pinky and
Oh, fantastic.
I said, "What was Twerky like?" She said, "It's good. It's Twerky." And,
that's such a part of thousands of people's lives, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you had Pinky and Peggy's pop parade because they had them squeaky voices singing all the modern songs, wasn't they?
Yeah.
The little squeaky voices.
Yeah.
Brilliant. I love it. Thanks, Jay. Great, that. Great.
Thanks, great memory.
Nostalgia. It's nostalgia, isn't it, really?
Yes. And again, it's what we call it pop history, popular at its time, Yeah.
The Snape says, "No, it's the black buildings I don't like." Well, I'm glad of that, Snapey, because I despise them. I really do. I despise them. And Owen Lee says, "Frank, is it true that they found houses underground when they were digging the first tunnel or an urban myth. No, they found different things, obviously, and yet they found remnants. You're talking the 1934 Queensway. That's what you're talking about. The one at the bottom of Dale Street in St John's Gardens. Yes, they found remnants. I took people out one day, and it was a Friday. My students, they were, because when I was doing this, I said, "Come on," I said, "I'll take you out." So we all went out, and we were around the Dale Street, Castle Street, and things. And I went down Queen Avenue, and I was showing them, and there was a fella standing in a doorway. And he said, "All right, Frank." And I went, "Oh, yeah." So I walked down telling them things. And as I was walking back, he said, "Frank, can I have a word?" You know, they just carried on. I said, "I won't be a minute." I said, "Yeah." And he said, "What are you doing Sunday?" I said, "What do you mean?" He said, "Are you free Sunday?" I said, "Free about what, you know?" He said, "If you come down here, I'll see you here at 11:30. He said, "And I'll show you something in here." I said, "Yeah, okay." So I went down and seen him, and he brought me in. And I said to a couple of, like a couple of students of mine, and they said, "Can we go with you?" I said, "Yeah." I said, "I'm not taking a big crowd, though." I said, "Don't say anything." So he said, "Okay." And they came with me, and the fella brought us in, and we went right down this building and went along, and it was incredible what he was showing us underneath Castle Street. And there was a couple of barrels there. It was like medieval times, medieval, and remnants of an old building.
Was the houses?
They could have been anything. They were just remnants, like a small wall, like a plastered wall, So it could have been a thing that was like a thatched cottage or something like that. It could have been an inn because there was a couple of old barrels there. And I said, they're for museum pieces. He said, "Well, no one knows about them. Only you, me, and my workmates here."
Wow. Jeez.
And I said, "Can I mention that?" Because it was on with Tony Snell at the time. He said, "Yeah, you can mention it." And I did mention it on the radio. So they're still there today. So it's only what Owen Lee says. And they did find, like remnants of buildings. So it's not an urban myth, Owen. You're right there, spot on. Well done, mate. I'm glad that they're asking questions, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Toscana to Snapey, I couldn't agree more. Spoils the view of the library. They're the black bloody granite building. I don't like the museum on the waterfront either. Because I used to go up into the Maritime Museum and look down, and you could see the whole of the Mersey going into, to the Liverpool Bay.
Yeah.
And it was a great view, and I used to love it.
Yeah.
And when they built that museum right on the waterfront, that stops the old view. Stops it.
The Black Building was home for us for nearly 12 years. But in all that time, I've never been in the museum. I don't like it. I used to go in years ago into what you called the Museum of Liverpool Life. But I've never been in this one.
No.
I never
went
back.
I went down for the function, and when they opened it, I was asked to go down. I was down, and I remember standing outside and looking at the black buildings, and there was this lady. She was standing there, and I said, I just, for something to say, I said, I don't like those at all. They should never have been built. And she went, oh, I like them. I said, oh, right, okay. I said, well, no, that's fine. I said, would you live in one of them? And she said, no. I said, why? She said, well, they don't look like proper homes. I said, well, there you go. That answers your question, what I've said.
Yeah.
Your question, your answer to me, do you like them? Don't look like proper homes, because they're homes besides offices. And she said, oh, I never thought that. I said, okay. I think she was just looking at them as black things, not buildings, not the functions of them. What's it there? Toscana say? Snapey couldn't agree more. Spoils the view of the Liver, Cunard and Port of Liverpool buildings. Yes, spot on. It's an early departure tonight for me, says the Snape. See yous all Saturday for the fingernail biting watch along. Night, everyone. Good night, Snapey. Good night, mate.
Snoopy.
And he's, see you, Snapey, says Christopher. Good night, Snapey, says Paulie. So you see the way it is. You look at things, you see things. As I said, I love the likes of Art Deco. I love the lines of Art Deco. It's fantastic, And we've got lots of Art Deco stuff. Art Deco buildings.
Yeah, the Philharmonic Theatre.
Oh, the Phil. Oh, incredible. But that was, the greatest was Herbert J. Rouse, Art Deco architect. And, he was asked by the Americans to go over there, and do some buildings. He said, no, I'm doing them here. Don't need to go to America. Do you know what he used to do? Herbert J. And I was talking, I used to go over the water and stay the weekend. People from all over the country used to go to, it was the Gladstone building, actually, over there, over the water. I forget where it was. But anyway, I used to stay there. And, people from all over the country used to go. Anyway, there was this old man, and he was in his 90s. And he was sitting in, this, like I gave a lecture, and then we used to go out, but he never came out with us, unfortunately. He wasn't able to come out on a walk, like me now today. But anyway, Anthony, he told me that he was the chauffeur. Get onto this. He was the chauffeur of Herbert J. Rouse.
Oh, wow.
And every Sunday, it was all, he lived on the Wirral somewhere, Herbert J. And every Sunday, Herbert J. used to get into his car. Now you can imagine this, in the 30s. He used to jump into his car and just drive wherever he drove to somewhere. And he has a phone in his car, believe it or not, a phone. And he used to get his bottle of scotch, fine scotch. I don't know whether it was famous grouse or what. And he used to do that. And he used to, and he used to phone the chauffeur up and say, "Can you come for me?" And the chauffeur used to ride up on his bike. open the boot, the back boot, and put his bike in it. Right, jump in the car and bring him home, bevied. He was always bevied with his scotch. He said every Sunday.
Oh,
Isn't that a great story?
that is a brilliant story. And excuse me scribbling as we're talking, but you know what? I, I I've heard you talk in many programs about Herbert J, and I've never done any back stuff on him, but I definitely will do. If there was a chart of um, top architects in Liverpool who've left the
Contributors who
most,
have contributed, yeah.
yeah, he would be
Well,
on your list, top five or
well, yeah.
top.
Well, you know, there's a fellow named George Grayson. George Grayson, some of the buildings he built in Castle Street, by the way.
See, this is wonderful. We've got to. I know our, our, our rambles, our shows go off on a tangent, but to do the story of Liverpool in 15 pictures of buildings give us the identity. Because it's like you were saying this week, Monday, about the the couple from down south or the Midlands, and when you were in Italy, and their ears pricked up when you were talking about Liverpool, and they physically came up, and you showed them. It's like that wow factor, because unfortunately, every city is judged by someone else's response. None more so really than Liverpool, because the media response has not been great since the late 70s, 80s. But it's remarkable to think, don't even think of the title of the city, just look at what's there. Where do you think that is in the world?
Yeah.
And some of the buildings, it's like I've said to you, wow, do you feel like Rome? Mm.
You know, I think you hit the nail on the head there, because you've only got to look at the neoclassical buildings. What you'd have to
Yeah.
look at, Anthony, do you ever remember me showing that time those, hang on, what's this? Oh, look, Jason says, sorry, gents, would love to get some pics up for this, but I have to go and pick my daughter or little Layla. No, you go.
No, we're planning, you know, we're planning out the next year.
Yeah, you know,
So we'll talk to-
about. I'll tell you what we'll do for next year. You know, we've spoken about the likes of Herbert J, and I'll give you another 4. Not now, but I'll give you another 4. We'll give Jason the 4 as well. You know, you've got to talk about the likes of
yeah,
Villink and Technesse. Now, they designed the portrait. They designed some of the buildings that were also designed, and one of them was Lippe. So you can see the difference between the Cunard and
yeah,
Lippe. You see, and they're the type of architects that I love, because they
yeah.
could change so much.
I love it, the way you broke down literature okay, we've heard of that book, we might have read that book, but this is the person, the man or the woman who wrote that book, and this is their background. I love that. We walk past buildings, and occasionally we'll look up and we see and you think, wow, that's phenomenal. But we don't have a face, and we don't have a tangible account of who did it.
Well,
That's
Leo, that's what Jason says there. He says, you love the idea of history of Liverpool in 15 picks. Shall we do that? Yeah,
yeah, yeah,
definitely.
yeah,
Because if you show the pictures, um, even the interior as well, Jason, you've got to show the interior of some of the buildings that we choose because they're phenomenal inside. Yeah, you could even show Jason. I know that you've got to go and pick Ayla up. If you're still here with us, you can actually show a couple of my DVDs where I've gone inside a couple of buildings that we choose that Herbert J. Rouse did. Even the Liver building where I've shown inside. So you can do all that as well, which would be great. Just a little snip, a couple of minutes of each one that I've actually done. You see what I mean?
yeah.
Sir Arnold Thornley is another one. He designed the wonderful Port of Liverpool building. So you can show the inside of there as well, which is incredible. I'm very proud of the DVD that I did by showing that particular building on the outside, but going in the interior, which has shown quite a lot.
When you went up on the balcony and you're looking down, I'm watching on the screen and I'm thinking, oh my God, don't get too close to the edge. No,
Yeah, it's inside the dome. It's incredible. And Jason says, yep, just got a list over to me and I'll sort it. Toughest part will be knowing where to stop. It's like me. And with the, the unfortunate thing is where to stop with the wonderful architects because they've given us so much.
Yes.
Even Toscana says she loves the buildings as well. She said that in previous things, previous streams, shows.
Well, this is the thing, isn't it? Because we talk quite readily about artists. Did you like that blue picture? Did you like that red one? Did you like that one with the two? So we talk about, but we don't talk as architecture is art, and they can either enliven a space or kill it.
Yes. Yes. Absolutely. And you can kill something with a build. That's why. Do you ever the most photographed thing in Liverpool? When people have gone around taking photographs, is the arch by the Albert Dock. On the Albert Dock, big arch.
Beautiful.
You're looking over towards the Port of Liverpool, the Cunards and the Liver, and that was the most photographed with the Albert Dock on the left.
Yeah.
Albert Dock on the left, so you could see all that. And when those black buildings went up, you can't take a photograph because it blocked everything.
I think it was 2007 that I took, because I used to go to Albert Dock with the kids were little, and Lainey and I used to always take that photograph that you're describing, different weather. And I think it was about 2007.
Yeah.
then
It was
everything's
around then, yeah, it must have been.
there was cranes and stuff that moved in,
Oh,
so you were obscured. But I never liked and don't like the museum building either. Really, I think
I
that
don't
was
like
like
I don't like the black granites, and I don't like that museum. Right, stuck right on the banks of the Mersey. I just don't like it at all. See, I've always said, I was talking to Rod, and I said, "What are they building that for?" And he just shook his head. He said, "I don't know." He said, "It's in the wrong place." I said, "I know it's in the wrong place." I said, "Why did they build it up there?" And when these black granite buildings came out, he said to me, he said, "No, they're not building them now." And I was made up. I was delighted. But unfortunately, something happened. I think it was corruption myself, why they built them. You
well,
might think,
someone got knighted over it.
yes or no. It's not only that. It's not only that. Hang on. It's not only that. It's other things as well that you can't go into, unfortunately. And it was some payments why they were built. Some payments, and I thought, it was just. It's so sad the way. I don't like greed. I don't like greed, and you don't like greed. And yet there are some greedy people in this world.
Well,
And that's
see,
the way.
they, they see that as success.
You always see it as always see it
Yeah,
as that's a day. What's going on in the world, and it's all through greed.
greed. Yeah,
Now I'm doing this tomorrow night. Not this. I'm doing what I'm going to say now tomorrow night. And you've got the likes of Trump. I think he's off his head. I think there's something wrong with him.
I think he's mentally unstable as well. Yeah,
Do you know what he said? He said, Venezuela. He said, "That's our land." He actually said it.
he said, yeah,
It's our oil,
they've got our oil.
our oil, and that's our land. He actually said it, and it's our land. That's a sovereign country. He's
That's,
fucking nuts. So
yeah.
anyway, I'll be talking about that tomorrow night. A lot of other things as well. And Callum, see little snazzy Callum, look. Good to see Frank isn't Scrooge.
No, he's a million miles from Scrooge, but we know a few Scrooges.
Don't we just? I got a phone call, off an old friend of mine, and it was a
Oh,
mistake. Yesterday, get onto this. It was a mistake, right? And he said, "Who's this?" I said,
oh,
"What do you mean, who's this?" He said, "Well, I've just got a number. Who is it?" And he went, I said, when I was saying, I said, why do you want to know who I am? He said, "Is that you, Frank?" And I went, "Yeah." And he turned around to whoever he was with and went, "It's Frank the historian. I've got his number here," because he never put it in. And it was really good, because he haven't heard of this fella for yonks. A very long
oh,
time. And he's a lovely man. He's a lovely fella. So we had a little chat, which was nice. Then I got a phone call this morning, right, of
yeah.
an old colleague. And I've spoken about this fella on here. He said to me last year and this year, and he phoned me up and he said, Frank, I said, what? He said, how would you like to go out for the day? And I went, yeah, okay. He said, I think I'll take you up to, where was it, Crosby? He said, I'll take you up to Crosby. I said, okay, that's nice. Lovely summer's day. So he took me up there.
Yeah.
And then he said, we were sitting on a bench, overlooking the beach and the sea, the river. And it was great, just sitting there, just chatting. And he said, are you ready? I said, ready for what? He said, I've got to go. I said, we've only got here.
Ah.
No, we got there at, I think, about 2:00. And I was back home at 3:10. So anyway, that was it. He said, I've got to go to work. So I said, okay. And this is like, do you want to go out for the day? Right. So he phoned me this year. Exactly the same scenario.
Oh.
Exactly this. But he's a lovely fella, and he rang me up this morning to see how I was and to wish me all the best and that, Anyway, I said to him, and in the first 5 minutes of the conversation, I said, listen, I said, I might have to just cut you off. I said, I'm waiting for Francine to call me because we're going out shopping. So he said, okay. Hour and a half later, he said, when is she going to phone you? I said, I don't think I'm getting a phone call. Which I didn't. So it's things like that are nice, Anthony.
It's the quality. It's the quality of these moments, Frank. We spend years and years and years rushing back and forward.
Exactly.
Well, that's for someone for what it's just the quality of moments where you just condense and spend time with someone.
Well, I exactly. And I said, I think it was last week. No, was it this week? I don't know. Yeah, this week. I said on the football show, I said, listen, I said, how would you like me to do it? A day one, just a one-off. I said, this Thursday, And no one said anything. And I said, I'll do it around 1:00. One person said, that'll be great, that, Frank, to do that. I said, just football. I said, just do it around lunchtime. I said, because I've got something going on the Thursday evening. Oh, that'll be great, that, Frank. Nothing else after that. And even on Tuesday, I said it, and nothing. So it's things like that, you say, putting a suggestion to, and nothing happens, which is sad.
Yeah. That's why these things from the blue really become so memorable, don't they?
Yeah.
It wasn't planned. Couldn't go wrong because it wasn't planned.
No. But it's just like tonight. We'll have a chat, and we have had a chat, and it's been good simply because it's just like what our lovely people are saying and making comments.
Yeah.
If you know what I mean.
Yeah. Yeah.
Do you know do you know who we thought it'd be on? And he hasn't shown. Who do you think?
Johan.
Yeah.
He could be big. He might still be in the airport in Calcutta. No.
I hope he's all right, yeah, Because he said I'll see you tomorrow night, didn't he?
He did. He hopes to be at wherever he's going, and then
he might be jet lagged. He might be jet lagged, as you do,
Yeah.
Especially where he was going to Calcutta.
I know.
Calcutta, the Annecy Cathedral. Frankie and Anthony, the Holmes and Watson of podcasts. The Anfield Road, mates, we had a great guest on before. We had Jimmy Case and Jan Mulby, but that was at the beginning. They were great, you know. They were really good, Anfield. And I mentioned you, actually, and Anthony mentioned you, you know, about being a big Red and season tickets holder. And we had to say, like, you know, you give your season ticket to your dad and his old mate to go because you're not liking the football that we're playing at the moment. And he just said, don't blame him. You know, and that's what they said, Jan and Jimmy. And Peter Brown. Great to see you back, Anthony. I will forever love this channel. It's like being down the pub with two wise men.
That's what we like.
Funny enough, that's what I said before, Peter. I mentioned about I'm talking midway through the program. I said it's just like being down because what it is we haven't got a certain topic and it's just a chat. And the people have been great and they're just chatting about everything, you know. Whatever comes into their minds and what, you know, I've been asked a couple of questions as well. You know, putting them straight. And, you know, it's been good. It has been good. And thank you for that. That's nice. And I did say, like, you know, it's like being down the pub and just having a chat or in a cafe, just talking. And the Anfield Road says, I always miss the big stars, but to be honest, you two are the biggest. Oh, how about that? I always seem to miss the big stars, but you two are the biggest. That's lovely. Thank you. Listen, Anfield, I'm taking my daughter out on Christmas Eve, and I've got to get hold of her tomorrow to ask what time and where to go, but this will be in the afternoon, but it will be in Dale Street. It will be in Dale Street somewhere. So if you want to meet up, I'll give you the time tomorrow night if you're there. Try and get on, or I'll definitely give you the time Monday or whenever. No, on Saturday during the watch along. So I'll give you the time and everything and what pub. But it'll either be someone asked what's your 3 favourite pubs. I'll tell you now. Favourite pubs is the Grapes, is the Ye Hole in the Wall, and the Grapes in Matthew Street. They're the 3 favourite pubs. But it'll have to be in Dale Street. I don't think I can make it down to the way I am because I'll be on my stick. So it'll be either Rigby's or Ye Hole in the Wall. And if the Hole in the Wall's chock-a-block, it'll be in the Saddle where, remember when we were supposed to meet in the...
Yeah, I do. That was great. I mean, there's also, I know it's a bit jiggery-pokery, but the Lion and the Railway.
The Lion and the... Yeah, but then again, it's made getting there.
Oh, good.
You know, walking up, you know, it's terrible for me. It really is, Anthony. But I understand, you know, the Lion would be perfect, but it could be out of the way for others. Whereas the likes of, even the Vernon, I can't walk in the Vernon, you know that. So I'll tell you for what, and I'll tell you where else I can't walk into. Do you know the post house, not the post house, the post office in
School
you know,
Lane?
Merseyside because
Yeah.
the floors are like that.
Oh,
Well, you
I-
know about the post office, the floors are wobbly, aren't they?
yeah, and
I can't walk on them, and the likes of the van and the floors like that, and I can't. It's shocking for me. That's how bad I am now. And the lovely Tosca. It's arrivederci from me to you all. Grazie, buonanotte. Thank you for the great company. Says that lovely lady Toscana. Thank you. Thank you, Toscana.
thank you.
And she'll be watching the watch along. I know she watches the watch along. Anyway, Peter Brown says, ship a mitre or flying the loaf. We're great boozers. Bigger, bit expensive now. Yeah, you're right. You're right. The flying the
Yeah.
loaf, that's in Lacey Street, isn't it?
There's one on Harbon Street. It used to be Kirkland's.
That's what I
Isn't
mean.
that
Isn't
one?
it Lacey Street? I always thought it was Lacey Street. Hardman
Well, it's
Street.
on the, yeah, it's on
Yeah,
the
well, it's,
corner.
you know what I mean.
Yeah.
We know what you mean. And you know that there's a view, believe it or not, which I love. It's one of my favourite views. You know, in Kirkland or flying the loaf.
Yeah.
Right. When you look up and there's a cobbled street, and at the top of the cobbled street you see the Anglican Cathedral.
Oh my gosh.
I
Yeah.
love that view.
Yeah.
Love it to death. And Christopher says, I love the Ship of Mitre, the Vernon, Rigby's, all great ale pubs.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And of course, there's Philharmonic as well, but
Yeah.
that'll be chocker.
The Phil. Did you say?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Again, it's a brilliant pub, but it's a bit out the way for people who are passing
Too
through
far
in
out.
town.
Too far
Yes.
out. It's very rare that I go in there and be honest. Yeah, there's the pubs coming out now. There's the pubs. Peter Brown. Get the merch on the channel, Frank. What do you mean? Can you explain, please, Peter? Do you mean the gen or what? You know, I know all about. Can you explain a little bit more, please, Peter? I'm not being funny or anything. I know when Lee says Holmes and Watson reminded me of the architect with the best name of all time, Cornelius Sherlock. Do you know what? He's one of them. He is one of them. Well done, Owen. Cornelius Sherlock. There's so many. It's like someone asked me, you know. It's someone asked me about who's your favourite. Can you name your five favourite buildings? And I said no. It's impossible.
It is impossible.
You can't name five. See, you know, the likes of W. Aubrey Thomas, for example. I'm going to give you an example here. Why I love him. Now, he designed a liver, right? W. Aubrey Thomas. And this is how different they are when they're, you know, doing some architecture. They can vary, right? They can vary. And do you know where Lord Street?
Yeah.
Lord Street. you see a building there, and it's got a massive arch, and it's in red and white. Have you noticed it? Do you know where? Do you know where Grosvenor? You know where we used to go to. To Roddo.
Yeah.
Right facing there, this building. It's right facing.
Yeah.
And now if Jason was here, he'd get it up, and you'd know it. And that's W. Aubrey Thomas. You know, he could change his style. See what I mean? He could change his style. And these are different architects who's given so much to Liverpool. Oh, Peter Brown got back to me. Ian, Liverpool. All right, Frank and Anthony. Rigby's a great pub. Wish it was called Rigby's. Wish it was called Rigby's, though, after Leonard Rossiter. Merry Christmas.
Yeah.
That's one of the greatest shows ever, because you can watch every episode every week and still.
Is a little town of Rome. Right, kind of not to Rome, to Italy in that series. What was the tie-in to Italy? And he occasionally would kick this tie-in to Italy. His cat was called Vienna.
Oh, Vienna, yeah. Yeah, and he always kicked it.
Yeah.
Do you ever remember when he thought it was run over? And someone burnt it, he said, and he thought it got cremated. And it was a hat.
He just had one of
it hasn't got an inside. The inside's gone. And he's holding a fair hat. He thought it was Vienna. Burnt. And it was Miss Jones. Miss Jones's hat. Incredible. And Peter de Brown says merchandise. If I put merchandise on here, what merchandise? Because I put up Peter. If you know what I mean. I wish I could. And I like the Globe White Star and the Carnarvon Castle as well. The Carnarvon Castle's okay.
Yeah.
I like that.
I love it.
Yeah. And the Globe. Yeah, the Globe.
I love all of them, yeah. Definitely.
And Mark Simons, is the Mersey Tunnel tour where taken family, anyone been? It was the longest road tunnel in the world until recently. Yeah, it is well worth it. If they're closing it down and not using it, you've got to watch the fumes. I know this may sound mad, but if I was doing it when they shut it down, so people could walk through it, yeah, it's well worth it.
It is.
Do you know when you go in? Do you know the Mersey Tunnel? Do you know who designed it, by the way, Anthony? The facade of the Mersey Tunnel.
I should do, because we talked about them, and they're putting it back together now.
Don't forget, it's Art Deco.
Yeah.
And it's Herbert J. Rouse. Now, when you go in, he was brilliant at this. And, you're talking 1934 in cars. That's a good shout there by Mark. You're talking cars. And, for the cars to be, like, seen, because they were very dim lights in those days. You're talking 1934, 5 and 6. So he put this brilliant, these tiles, massive tiles they were. and it's shown light. Any little piece of light it's shown.
Reflected back.
So that, you know, the whole of the tunnel could light up with these dim lights, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
They've gone today. You know, they've been covered over, you know, because of the strong headlights of
Yeah.
cars.
Buses.
Been covered over, but that's how good he was.
Oh, it's a fascinating walk. We did a walk one time through it. We had my dad with us, and we did the walk. Halfway through the tunnel, our Tom decides he needs the loo. That way. Wow. So there's all these little side doors.
Yes, that's right.
Walk in them. It's like another world.
Yeah.
There.
Another tunnel.
Yeah. Pedestrianised world through there. Fantastic journey. I would defo do it if you give me the.
Yeah, definitely do it. Remember when the King's Tunnel opens as well, and I went down there. You know when it first opens, and they opens it to the public, because I was only living around there at the time, and I went down. Through it. Christopher said, I think he means sell merchandise for your channel, but you need about 10,000 subs to sell it. Yeah, I know. I have got nowhere near them. We haven't even got 2K. I wish I did have 2K, but. And Edward says, we used to go to the Walkers by the Adelphi and Arena in Concert Square. Yeah.
Yeah. The boozers, yeah. There's a wonderful old, famous, and many stories written about a boozer close to Concert Square called the Swan. And I started going there as a kid when I was at art school, a biker's pub, but the jukebox is second to none. The Swan on Wood Street.
Yes. I just want to get something I want to say. And it's only what Christopher says. I think I just like drinking in Liverpool. I think they all do, to be honest, Christopher. And I see they've restored the old tall beacon light by the Mersey Tunnel, the entrance by William Brown Street roundabout. It looks really good lit up at night. Well, I always complained about why they pulled it down and nothing was put in its place. And it was the biggest mistake about these city planners. That's why I'm against city planners and these daft people. But just bear with me on this.
Yeah.
No, I don't think I've got it. Just bear with me. For fuck's sake. I can't be bothered looking for it. It's just nuts. Yeah, one of the greatest of all monuments it was a sort of a monument. It was an Art Deco monument with a massive light on the top. But they put it in the wrong place, in my opinion. They put it in the wrong place. Yeah. They should have put us in the rightful place where it was taken down, because there's nothing there. I haven't got it, unfortunately. I haven't got it. Of course I had it. Oh, there it is. I just want to show you this, right? And that's the thing he's talking about. But this is the old one. You see?
Yes. Yes.
That's the one they took down and smashed up. They smashed it up. And why can't they put it back in the original place? I always remember being interviewed by the BBC, and it was about, I forget what it was about. Oh, I'll tell you what it was about. It was about the, the gates, Strawberry Field gates.
Yes.
And this Yank wanted to buy them to put on his drive in California. And the BBC had me on, that Look Northwest. And they said, well, they could make another set of gates. I said, oh, okay then, yeah. I said, I'm a football fan. I said, and if UEFA came to Liverpool Football Club and said, we want that European Cup, the one that we kept after we won the fifth. I said, so, we got to keep it. What if they said, well, we want to take this, but we'll replace it? It's not the same. It's not what you've won. Those gates will not be, they're only replicas. I said, it's like buying a watch in, wherever, and they're all fake watches. Would you rather have a real one or a fake one? You'd rather have a real one rather than a fake one.
The history is in the real.
Absolutely. So it's a bit daft, So it's like that. It's like everything, to be honest. And Mark says, Rigsby was my favourite comedy series of all time, up there with Faulty. Yes.
Yeah.
Steptoe and Only Fools for me. Thing is, I never ever liked Steptoe, but the others, what you've said, yes, Mark. Yes, definitely. And Edward says, I've never been the Swan. We used to go to Wood Street as well. Swan biker, is it, as you said?
It used to be like a biker because it was tucked away. There's great.
Well, it still is. Well, the last time I was in there, Maggie Mays standing outside and seeing,
still,
bikers walked up.
Every generation discovered the Swan. It's a brilliant pub. It's only small, so you don't get loads and loads of people in there. There's downstairs and upstairs, like a one down, one up. But I used to go there when we used to play music a lot. It was a great place to go before and after.
Well, do you know, what was it? I was in the Ye Hole in the Wall one night. So today, I don't know what it was. Anyway, standing at the bar, and these two girls were talking, and she said, "It won't be a minute. I'm going to loo." And she said to the bar girl, she said, "Where's the toilet in here?" And she said, "Oh, you've got to go down and it's up the stairs." And her mate who was standing said, Why can't it be downstairs? Why can't we use that there?" She said, "It's the gents." She said, "Yeah, but change it around. Why should we have to go upstairs? Why can't the fellas go upstairs?" Little did they realise that it was a gentleman's pub. No ladies were allowed in. But when they were, they had to put the loo upstairs for them.
Wow.
Look, spot on there, Frank. Yep, it's currently to the left of the entrance. Would it be much better back? And it said, of course, Ian. Yeah, definitely back in its original place. And Ian says, see Maggie Mays has closed down as well recently. What a sad loss. Iconic cafe. I was talking to John Lee, who owns it. And it's so sad. After 30 years, I can't even say too much, to be honest. But put it this way, he didn't want to leave. I'll just leave it at that. He didn't want to leave. That's all I can say. Have you ever seen Still Game, Scottish comedy? No, I haven't, Lowen. Have you ever seen Still Game, Anthony? Comedy series?
No, I've not. Not the. I mean, the name rings a bell. Is it a film or
No.
maybe?
See, the thing is, I don't watch terrestrial television, to be honest. I don't watch BBC or ITV. Don't watch any of them over certain things, you know. Just certain things. So I watch alternative TV, especially the news.
Yeah, but in general terms, I think that's another kind of blow to Christmas.
Yeah,
Was not so many years ago, then television, terrestrial television, used to spend money at Christmas time on some absolutely brilliant shows. When you watch it, even if it's a Christmas special, bam, there you go. Nowadays, it's like cold porridge. Everything is like cold porridge. Just not worth sitting.
when you look at Fawlty Towers, as one of the lads said, Rigsby, incredible. Do you know what else I loved? Believe it or not, but it was, Dad's Army.
Yeah,
I loved that.
yeah.
That was so good.
Well,
When the Spiv died in it, I never watched it after that because I don't like. He was one of my favourite characters.
yeah, it was such a shock.
Yeah, died. He was only young. He was only like 42 or something.
Yeah,
Heart attack.
yeah, yeah.
So, have you enjoyed it tonight, Mister?
I've enjoyed it. Just so it's kind of a wind down for Christmas, isn't it?
It is.
So tomorrow you've got your big and heavy show.
Yeah, I've got my heavy show tomorrow, which is current affairs. What's going on? Or what I really want to talk about.
Yeah.
We were talking about corruption tonight, but within our own corruption, if you know what I mean. But I really want to talk about corruption. I want to talk about bullying by a certain country. Because if you don't conform to them, they bully you and regime change. And it's shocking what's going on right this moment.
Yeah, yes.
Yeah, I just want to talk about that, tomorrow night. And other things as well. I want to. One of the lads, I remember, I don't know whether it was last night or the night before, asked about conspiracy theories.
That's right. Yeah.
And we'll do that as well in the new year.
Yeah.
We'll get a couple of things up.
Yeah.
And I got a message, I'll show you it sometime. And it said, well, why don't you, you mentioned about, the gunpowder plot.
Yes.
So why don't you do that? Because the gunpowder plot is not what you see.
No.
So I'll do that as well. I'll do the gunpowder plot.
Yeah.
And it's not a conspiracy, but it's a theory. And that theory is 100%. You can theorize on anything, but when I mention about the 1605 gunpowder plot, it's totally different from what. See, don't forget about the propaganda, Anthony,
No, absolutely.
and that's what it's all about.
Yeah.
Propaganda and spin. They spin a thing around. So that's what we'll be talking about next year,
Yeah.
which should be good, shouldn't it?
It will be.
We'll be talking about architects. So we've got a few things lined up. We've got a few things lined up for next year. But one thing we still be keeping is the history of literature.
Brilliant.
But everything else will be focused on, besides the football. I'm taking football out of the equation. I'm doing football, don't get me wrong, but I mean, what we're going to do, we'll be talking about some buildings. You'll be looking the inside, and these architects who, you've got to know these architects who have given us what Liverpool is today.
Exactly. I so look forward to know more about the people who design them, the genius, the artists, architects.
Well, you've only got to look at Sir Alfred's Waterhouse. Now, Sir Alfred's Waterhouse, what he designed, again, I like the diverse. The diversity of some architects. Some architects just build the same buildings.
Because that's their thing, yeah.
You go, well, why do that? Because they're playing it safe, if you know what I mean. They play it safe rather than say, well, I think I'll do this and do that type of building. And one of them is Sir Alfred's Waterhouse. Sir Alfred's Waterhouse, the buildings he designed, absolutely amazing and totally different from one another. And these buildings are well known. So there's the likes of him, Waterhouse.
Absolutely. It goes back to what you were saying earlier on, when some buildings, they look totally out of place as they're built amongst. It's the wondrous thing for me is the way you described which is open again now as a hotel facing St. George's Hall, and building different style from St. George's Hall, but absolutely in partnership. It doesn't jolt, doesn't jar with anything.
No. So, it's things like that. It'll be very interesting. And I've been in buildings, I've filmed them. And little clippets, 2 minutes of a building will be shown as well.
Yeah.
The inside, the interior.
Yeah.
Of some of the great buildings.
India buildings, one which is mind blowing. Sadly, some of these buildings we can no longer get into.
No, which is sad. And Ashley Knight, bit late tonight, Frank. Does only follow Liverpool football team like you as well?
I am not a football stalwart. Frank is the man. If anything, I follow anything Liverpool, but football has been a big part of my life and our life, and family life. The minute that little box in the corner of the room or the radio sends out. So it's an anchor, I think, for anyone that comes from Liverpool.
Yep. And so we've been on now for nearly 3 hours, mister.
Well, time for Bobo's because you're out tomorrow.
Yeah. And I just want to thank Gap Painting Services for sponsoring all the shows, and get them in. They're fully time served. There's no cowboys with these fellas. They're fully insured just in case anything goes wrong. They do the interior, exterior, and even commercial painting as well. And if you're an NHS worker and if you're, an elderly person, get them in because you get a special discount. And even if you don't fit into those categories, get them in, give you the price, without any obligation. They're great people. And in Liverpool, I miss going to shop for the Pink Echo on a Saturday evening, boys. Great yes, that's a very good memory. I wish it would have come on before, Ian.
Yeah. Used to be the Pink Echo, yeah, and then Grandad and our dear friend Father Tom used to pick up the Racing Post. Always have that in his pocket, though.
The Bishop Tom used to.
Yeah, he was always lucky on the horses. I said, "That's not fair. You're calling in all the help, Yeah, the racing, yeah.
Great Father Tom, wasn't he?
Yeah, great.
Lovely man, and so proud of St. Anthony's.
Yes, and rightly so, and the area, and he knows that you grew up with the hardships.
Scotty Road, yeah.
Yeah.
And he said to me that, would you like to go into the crypt? And I went, yeah. He said, okay, come on. And I had my students with me. Went down. That's what kind of a man he is.
Yeah. Legend.
So on that note, Anthony, it's been good, hasn't it?
It's been great, gentle, nice, listening to people's comments, and once again, it set us off on little side journey.
Yeah, absolutely. And you know what? It's all. I was quite surprised at you actually. With your effing and blinds and at the beginning.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was shocked.
Yeah, Moby ate all the pies, didn't he?
Yeah, and Jimmy Case. Know what I mean?
I was starved.
But I got a message, didn't I, off Jason? He said, tell Anthony to stop swearing or I'll unmic him. So I said, okay. But I didn't tell you, and you carried on swearing.
I'll have a word with our Jason.
And no one says, thank you, gents. Been a brilliant show once again. Thank you for your company. Isn't that lovely?
That's beautiful. Thank you, Owen. Thank you for yours.
Yeah. And you know what? Who do we have to thank, though?
Well, Jason, even though he's knocked me from his swearing, and our beautiful chat family, first in the queue, who've never shouted at me for me swearing, and always come up with a wonderful direction for us to go in, because without these wonderful people, we're a bag of chips on the park bench.
That's it. That's what we'd be doing, sitting on a park bench, fishing chips or pie and chips and a bottle of grouse.
Oh,
yeah. rather than being what we're doing, because we're out our lovely people on there, these wonderful people, very intelligent. I'm not fraternising them or patronising, but some of the comments and everything has been fantastic.
No, it's a great well, the expression, the game changer, isn't it? It's like,
Yes,
and we go with it happily. It's wonderful.
because when you look at some of the comments and some of the memories, it's like Ian. I miss going to shop for a pink echo.
Yeah.
They're unbelievable memories.
Yeah.
They really are. So it's just a shame, that we have to finish because I'm absolutely knackered. You're knackered. And there's nothing to it. But anyway, if you want to join me tomorrow night, I'll be doing the current affairs. I'll be talking about Venezuela, Ukraine, Russia, this country, Europe, the EU. I'll be talking all about that. Trump. And horrible. And Peter says, Amen. God bless you. Very enjoyable evening as always. Isn't that lovely? Thank you, Peter.
Thank you, Peter.
Thank you so much for that. And but as we've always said, without our lovely people on there, there'd be no show. We'd be just sitting on the park bench, with fish and chips or pie and chips, and the bottle of grouse.
Yeah.
Yeah. So try and join me tomorrow night. If not, I'll see you for the watch along on Saturday. And we'll be doing the history of literature. You really need to watch the history of literature, people, honestly, because it's unique. You might think, oh, literature, but it'll surprise you. It would. Wouldn't it, Anthony? Surprise them if they've never tuned in about the history of literature. Are you gonna say anything, Anthony?
I'm listening to you, but no, the history of literature is exactly what you said. It's not the page on a book. It's why it was written, what brought the author to write it, and why, and how it impacts on us, how it did then, and it does now, and once again it's staggering the way that books that were written in the 1800s are bang on for what's going on today, as are great philosophers,
Because last night was incredible, wasn't it, about HG?
Yes. Wonderful.
Loved it. And Ian says, thanks for the festive walk back in time, gents, tonight. Thank you. And it's only because of you as well, all the people who have contributed. Because without you, there'd be no show. I'm telling you now, there'd be nothing. And Ashley says, talking about Sloot as well. Yes. I'll be talking about him on Saturday. On Saturday, you'll be talking about him. I don't know what time the kickoff is. Is it 5:30 again? I'm not quite so sure. But anyway, it's an hour before the kickoff. And we'll be doing a pre-match and then the watch along and then the post-match. That's what we'll be doing on Saturday. Next week, we're doing the history of literature, as I said. Tuesday, we'll be doing, I don't know, again, it could be I don't know what we'll be doing, to be honest. Could be there.
You've got your night out with Francine. That's Tuesday, isn't it?
No, is it? It's not Christmas Eve, is it?
I think so. Yeah. I think Christmas Day is on the Wednesday.
No, it's on the Thursday.
On the
So
Thursday. Well, I take all that back. That's what, I haven't got a pink echo, so I don't know where I'm going.
Your mind's gone back a year.
My mind's days.
Yeah, you're back in 2024.
Yes.
I'll be going out in the daytime. I'll be sleeping in the evening. I won't be going out in the evening. But anyway, nevertheless, it's been great tonight. Thank you, Anthony.
No,
Thank you, all you wonderful people out there. Thank you, Gap Painting Services. Thank you, Jason.
Yes.
And I'm looking forward now to the new year. Different things. It will be great. Thank you so much. And on that wonderful note, thank you, Anthony. See you later.
Have a good day tomorrow.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you, people. Thank you. Hope to see some of you tomorrow night. If not, Saturday. If not, next Monday. Oh no, I've got God blame it. I forgot the film and TV review on Saturday morning, 10:30. So that'll be good to see. So thank you so much. I'll see you all then. Whenever I see you again. Thank you. Bye bye now. Bye-bye.
Thank you all. Good night.